Hi, my name is Jeremy Boysen and I run the Good Life Track Battle Series. I've been doing it since 2016, and before that I was a drag racer doing drag racing stuff back in the early 2000s, mid-2000s with Kyle Loftus on 1320 Video in Omaha, and then myself in Lincoln, Nebraska. Started with DSMs and then got in trouble on the street, so decided to go to autocross. Went autocrossing for several years with SCCA, and that got pretty boring, so started doing track days with BMW Group, and then here we are doing Good Life shenanigans from 16 and on. And I started in 16 with an FRS and moved out of that real quick. I bought the Porsche GT4 you see behind me and started with street class there. Was kind of my first event, getting my feet wet. Did Gingerman, it's Good Life then. Went to Road Atlanta back in 16, I want to say, and that's kind of where things really went south for me. I won the street class there at that event. Did pretty good at the last event, and then the rules changed on me. Good Life said no more cars over $70,000. So I was like, well, screw that, let's make this a street mod car then. So things got a little out of hand, and talked to BGB down in Florida and was like, well, let's do this, let's build a street mod monster. And this was going into the 17 season, before things got out of hand like they are today, and sent the car off. We did a 4-liter build, did the transmission gearing change, rear end change, changed all the arms to GT3 equivalents, brakes all around Essex kit, Titan 7 wheels, shoving 265s up front and downsizing the rears for the rules into street mod. And then after all that was done, that took 6 months, I would say. So drove down to Florida, hauled it back, and then I took it to Indianapolis for the guys at Veris Engineering. They poured over it for another 6 months, did a custom aero kit that they now sell for the 981s, and that was really cool. They did CFD analysis, picked up the wing, the side splitters, the canards, the rear diffuser. It's a full package kit. And I want to say the CFD said, don't quote me, but somewhere around 100 miles an hour was 1,500 pounds of downforce, 1,500 to 1,700 pounds of downforce, which is way beyond my capabilities. Downforce is a hard thing to drive around, or trust, I guess would be the correct term. So I think by the time I finally showed up with the car ready to go was 18, I want to say. It was finally done, so it took a year of off-season. And they showed back up with it in 18, and by that point things had escalated quickly. This car here only makes 410 wheel horsepower, and then we had a couple guys like Dewey and Sean and some other guys that are just throwing monster power down, plus they can wheel. So that year's worth of planning really wasn't holding a candle to anything in the field anymore. But went out there and made a good showing, and the car is such fun to drive. Like, it's a monster. I've got a GT3 991.2 GT3 manual. This GT4 is just as fast as it on a roll, and that GT3 makes 500 horsepower. So to have just as fast of a car in a light package with aero, it really is a blast to drive. So the motorsports aspect of this car is just, it makes you do dumb things. The amount of money that's poured into this thing is pretty wild, but the experience you have with that mid-engine car on track it's unbelievable. So, I mean, just like last year, we had it at Mid-Ohio in 19, and between this year, which we just got back from Mid-Ohio, I dropped a full second by just kind of learning to trust the car a little bit more. So there's a lot of time out there, and trying to make things happen is hard when it comes to being able to trust the aero and trust the car and trust yourself, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of where the GT4 came from, and we'll continue to work on it and, you know, make better showing next year and do the track mod stuff, or not track mod, but track battle. And yeah, that's the GT4.
Just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Great vibes.